Hello, Bomb-Minions. So just a forewarning, I am sounding like a freaking idiot today. Like, I cannot speak. My tongue is in, I have an itch. My tongue is in so many knots. I don't know what is going on with my mouth today. It's just, I'm having a hard time getting words out without sounding like a bumbling idiot. So hopefully I can get through this video and maybe another one. We'll see if I'm feeling ambitious. But I wanted to talk about my thoughts on the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. This is the creme de la creme of palettes at this point. Everybody and their gerbil is talking about this palette. Everybody loves it. Everybody is raving and hyping it up, and I just was trying to resist it, but I bought it, and now I'm going to throw this into the mix because I have some things to say. So if you've been watching my thought type of videos lately, you will know that I don't really go into, you know, the price or how much product is in this little baby. I don't really list the statistics. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't really like go through the little points. You know, there are plenty of videos like that. They are just stretched far and wide all over the internet, and if you really want to look at one of those videos, they are out there and you can go watch them. That's fine. But in these thought type of videos, I just talk about, you know, my feelings on it. I like to share my feelings, you know what I'm saying? So this is my video thrown into the mix of Modern Renaissance. What the fuck was that? This is my video thrown into the mix of Modern Renaissance palettes. So let's do this. So this was a palette that I was really trying to resist. You know, I was not feeling the whole Anastasia thing. I was not jumping on the train, you know what I mean? It was leaving the station and I was like, see ya. I have had previous experience with Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadows, and I was never really a fan of them. I do have the Self-Made palette, and I think that that's an okay palette. I felt with the Self-Made palette that it was a good palette, it was a solid palette, but I felt like people were making too big of a deal out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody was like, oh, this is a great palette, this is the palette to have, and I got it. And I was just like, it's okay, you know, it was okay. I can, you know, count on one hand the amount of times that I actually used it. It just didn't knock my socks off, you know what I mean? It just wasn't, it wasn't my jam. But this palette came out and all of a sudden it was an overnight success. You know, everybody was just, oh my god, about this palette. Everybody freaking loves it. And I just felt like there's gotta be something going on here, because when everybody raves about something, I don't know about you, but when everybody raves about something, I get skeptical about it. I start thinking like, there's something wrong with that, because there's gotta, you know, like, not everything is that perfect. Nothing can be that perfect is what I really meant to say. Nothing can be that perfect. But after I have watched countless videos where people have been talking about this, and it's just been the bee's knees in everybody's life, I finally decided to get it. And of course, okay, just a little tangent for a moment, a little detour, okay? I really wanted to buy this from the Sephora website because I have a gift card. And I have been stalking the Sephora website for a good month. It had to have been like a month. It, of course, was never in stock at all, while everybody else had it in stock. And it's like, what the hell? Why is it that Sephora just can never keep things stocked? You know, everybody else seems to manage. You know, I don't get it. I don't understand. So I ended up just ordering it from the Anastasia website because I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm tired of waiting, so I'm going to pay full freaking price for this, and it better be worth it. And let me tell you, okay, the shipping from that website was top notch. It was great. It was packaged really well. It shipped really quickly. I was very pleased. Okay, I was very pleased with my experience from ordering from the Anastasia website. So thumbs up to them, major props. So I wanted to give you a few swatches of these just to give you an idea of what they look like when swatched. I mean, they swatch really, really well, okay? So when I first got this palette, it really was like love at first swatch. Like, I put them on my hand and I was like, wow, those look really freaking good. But I will say that when my finger like dipped into them like initially, I never had that moment, you know, what you know what I'm talking about, when you like touch a product for the first time and you're like, oh, you know, you have a private moment, you know. Only me? Just me? Okay. But you know what I'm talking about, you know, when a product like really like makes you feel like really good about the way that it feels, like, you know, like the texture feels just like really, really good. And I never really had that feeling with this. Not that any of these really feel like powdery or dry or particularly unpleasant, you know, it just, none of them really give me that feeling of like a really nice luxurious eyeshadow, you know. And that's okay, you know, not everything has to do that, but I'm just making a point to mention that none of these really give me that feeling. I like, okay, now obviously colorblind, you know, that whole thing, but from color descriptions and stuff, I love that it's not just your typical neutral eyeshadow palette. You know, I love that there's some different shades in here. I feel like this is a nice addition to the millions of duplicates of things that I have. You know what I mean? I usually stick with the safe things. I usually stick with, you know, basically the same stuff. Like if you go through like my lipsticks, I'm sure that 95% of them basically look the same because that's just what I'm drawn to. I know that a lot of people are like that. And I feel like every company, I'm like looking longingly at it because I just love it. I feel like every company just like rehashes the same type of thing over and over and over again. And I've reached a point with eyeshadow palettes that I'm just bored with it. You know, I don't buy many eyeshadow palettes anymore for that reason. But I grabbed this one because I feel like it's something different. Something else that I love about this is that I've seen several reviews that mention that everything goes together. You know, and that is something that is so important when you are like me and you are visually impaired, you know, slash colorblind, whatever. I guess color blindness is a visual impairment. I don't know why I said that. You know, I don't have to worry about, oh, does this go with this or does this go with this? Like what shadows in this palette go together? And there's so many palettes that really are like that. You know, if you go and look at reviews for some palettes and people are like, you know, I looked at this and I couldn't imagine what looks I would make with this. And that to me is a palette that right off the bat, I'm not going to buy because it is important to me to know what looks good together. And when people say that every single shadow in this palette goes well together, that's important. Now, one thing that I'm not 100% in love with this palette, and that's just me because of my particular skin tone, there isn't a single shadow in here that is like a highlight for me. You know, I do have to bring in another shadow. You know, I have to like dig into my freaking stash, which isn't really a problem, but I do have to dig into my stash to find like an inner corner highlight or a brow bone highlight because none of these shades are really light enough to do that for me. I love that there is a variety of, you know, mattes and satins and shimmers and stuff. I love that these two shades right here, I think it's these two, they are the only ones that are like full on like shiny, you know, and they're not shiny in a whoa bam glitter disco ball Swamp Queen palette. I love that they are more of a metallic, you know, they are not glittery. And I feel like because of that, this is a palette that kind of moves among the generations, you know what I mean? Like anybody can really use this palette because of the finishes in it. This is a great palette. Like I really hate, okay, this might be like the hipster in me talking, but sometimes I really hate when I love something that everybody else is loving because I want to march to the beat of my own drummer. But I call it like it is, guys. If something is really, really good, I'm gonna tell you that it's really, really good. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I hate this just because everybody else loves it. I honestly love this palette. I honestly do. I highly recommend it. So those are my thoughts on the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. I really, truly, I wanted to buy this and just, I don't know, there was a part of me that almost wanted to rip it apart because everybody's just raving about it, and I feel like I'm just gonna blend into the mix of everybody else because everybody just loves this palette, but honestly, it is that good. That will be that, and I will talk to you guys later.